now joined from Cairo by the International Regional Affairs researcher Hany El-Gamal. Thank you very much for being here with us on Q News. How successful has Egypt been in delivering humanitarian aid under the current restrictions?
Greetings to you and your viewers. And I think Egypt is the most involved countries through delivering the humanitarian aid through the allowed crossings. Egypt had managed to make Al-Arish to be on site to deliver the aid through the land or air, with the collaboration with the international and Arab countries to this regard. The Israeli reluctance for delivering it through more than centers, so the revision of delivery would take more than 24 to 28 hours. That would affirm that the humanitarian aid amount aren't that enough. So 500 humanitarian load trucks should be entered daily, at least to the Palestinian territories, but with Israeli reluctance of not opening the 6 different outlets and to be limited, such as the Rafah crossings, that would affirm that this is in a very problematic issue that has different types of aid, such as medical and food, but this policy is under the starvation systematic policy of Israeli forces in order to make some sort of forced displacement from the north to the south, and the exploiting the humanitarian aid as weapons to make the Palestinian to make this starvation policy for the Palestinian. Israeli schemes that reached, according to the summit vision, to have 3,400 settlements to trisecting the Gaza Strip and the eastern Jerusalem, meaning the Palestinians should be only in a very specific zones determined by Israel. So there are militarily operations that are intensifying by Israel to control more Palestinian territories, as Israel claims to have a humanitarian zone for the Palestinian on the land and to deliver the aid according to the Israeli visions that would denounce the delivery. Around 100 international humanitarian agency by Israeli approvals for delivering the aid for the Palestinians, despite their fulfillment of the Israeli conditions, but the Israeli red tapes disrupting such an effort that makes the humanitarian aid either from Egypt or from the others in the world. Unfortunately, they would be make in favor for Israel to control it totally or to in delivery to those who are needed. Unfortunately, reporters said that monitored that more than 400 Palestinians were killed, food seekers, but targeted by the Israeli army by all means. In addition to target several of the shelter camps and families prepared by the UNRWA. So we are within a very problematic issue between the Greater Israel and the small Gaza. Greater Israel, as adopted by Smotrich and Netanyahu, not only parted the geographic borders of the West Bank and Gaza and the attempt of the annexation through the approval of Qnews, but reaching to the adjacent borders, either in the south of Lebanon or in some territories on the Syria or in Jordan, in order to have a full control of Israel of this matter. But this matter is getting an approval of the US administration through Trump's approval to implement such a scheme, but as soon as possible. as what been made by the European community and the upcoming meeting in September, so it will be having a great desire by several European countries such as France on the recognition of the Palestinian state. So Israel is trying to escalate the matter in order to annex the Palestinian territories and to have some sort of killing the idea of the establishment of the Palestinian state. And the international recognition would be just like an incubator and would be having no horizons to be implemented on the ground following the annexation and referring all the matters to eliminate it to the Palestinian Authority in order not to have a political horizon through which a technocrat permitted to govern the Palestine and then to move it to the Palestinian Authority that should be having a full control and the most probably the most idealistic solution is the two-state solution.
And how significant is it that Egypt works with and coordinates efforts with other countries? Of course, the Foreign Minister of Egypt spoke to the Foreign Minister of the UK today. Is that important, that international coordination in order to get humanitarian aid into Gaza? What I was saying there was, Hany El-Gamal, was how important is it for Egypt to coordinate these strategies with other countries? I was saying that, of course, the Foreign Minister, Badr Abdel Ati, spoke to the UK's Foreign Minister, David Lammy, today. How important is it to coordinate with other countries in order to get humanitarian aid, the much-needed humanitarian aid, into Gaza?
I think the matter is in a very hard times in dealing with this matter under the practicing the systematic genocide war by Israel that has been denounced by the international entities that documented the crimes of such a genocide. Israel is trying to intensify militarily operations such as the chariots of Gaza that executed its goals on the but in the ground there are a repetitive Israeli desire to expand comprehensive military operations and to contain the Gaza Strip. So such military Israeli operations have several trajectories. Firstly, to have some ways to put the Palestinian away. And we do not use the UN to participate in such an operation to have a momentum of more than 100,000 Palestinians from some specific places in order to be displaced. And in accordance with the Palestinian negotiation, partially in order to give chances of releasing the hostages. I think the humanitarian aid and the images broadcast by Hamas that expresses the status of starvation and even for the Israeli captives affirms that the famine is in a high peak and entering the humanitarian aid shouldn't be in the hands of criminals or merchants financed by Israel for selling the humanitarian aid with a very high prices to the Palestinians with this regard. And since the matter affirms that there is a desire from Israel goes in line with the Israeli vision to geopolitically change into the region. But the timely calculations push several Arab and Islamic countries affirming in a very hard, very strong statement of the outright rejection to either the expansion on the Palestinian territories or through the Egyptian borders. So that affirms that there is a desire by the Islamic and Arab politics to halt the Israeli maneuvering. This also goes for the Arab countries, along with the Islamic countries, can formulate a political and diplomatic as well as economic approach to push or to pressure Israel, not only to respond to the strong statement with the League of Arab States, but has some very escalated matters, and either by diplomatic pressures that would lead to some sort of isolation to the Israeli state, among which that you have some sort of pressure over the economic cooperations, not only with Israel, but for those countries supported or financing Israel, and also to have some sort of a pursuit to the settlers who are carried guns against the Palestinian civilians, along with the complaint within the United Nations, considering that Israel's schemes is define the sovereignty of the states on their territories. For the Arab states to file a complaint before the United Nations, as it is a breach of the international law. All these matters, if the Arab Islamic countries to have some sort of momentum of relentless effort on the diplomatic, political, and economic levels, and to enter some other countries such as Russia and China in such a system. And I think it is the American administration will pressure Israel, as we witness these days, but the raising voices rejection by the Israeli cabinet. And there is a meeting on the next, or a call of some sort of civil disobedience, internal Israel. Why shouldn't we use some sort of tool against the Israeli state and its allies? And
okay, well, thank you very much. I'm going to have to just cut you off there because we're just out of time, but thank you very much, Hany El-Gamal, joining us from Cairo, the International and Regional Affairs Researcher.